My fellow citizens of all nations. Roald Amundsen, Autobiography. He was a very interesting man, and he lived a very interesting life, and the way he talks about his own life is very interesting. Of course, most people like to talk about themselves and their life, and they are not really objective when they do so. But as we see, what is very remarkable and particularly interesting about Amundsen is that from very young age, he had this goal. He knew what he wanted to become, and he started to prepare for it early in life. And this goal of his to become a polar researcher followed him rest of his life. And this is remarkable because most of us, we are trying to figure out life, and we just don't know from the start, early age, what we want to do. And sometimes, between, for example, a certain age, we want to become something, and in another stage of our life, we want to become something else, and we just don't have this fixed idea of just highest goal we want to achieve, because our highest goals usually change. We might reach the top of something and we just want to move, or we might not even reach the top but go half somewhere. We just decide that we want something else. And most of the time, life is about figuring out what you want. And what is different about Amundsen is that he knows what he wants to become from very early age. Of course, he doesn't want. He had the situation that his mother wanted from him to become a doctor, and he didn't want to disappoint his mother. And there is a sort of dynamic there, which is also quite interesting. But eventually he does follow his own choice, and it's really interesting how many times he had life-threatening situations and how many times he actually survived, which is shocking. There are literal miracles which happened to him and his crew and people that were there, and that's one of the main reasons they lived the amount of time they lived. I'm not going to criticize his attitude toward different things. I think he had his own perspective, and it's not within my interest or goal of this video to just criticize him for his attitude he had to other things. And I believe that those people that like adventure and people that achieved great things will enjoy and will find a lot of value in this book, because Amundsen had these challenges in life. And when we read generally autobiographies or biographies about some people, we realize that our life is not so particularly special. We might dislike some people we meet in our workplace, or during the day, or in some events, or we might like certain people. And eventually what we realize is that that's pretty normal, or that's very humane. We sometimes meet people we don't like, or we are just neutral or whatever, and that's quite normal. There is not anything special about it. And the way he was, for example, betrayed by his own brother, and how his own brother tried to sell his only house, and how he was deceived by a scoundrel, and how a lot of people, for example, claim things they don't know nothing about, and they just cause enormous harm. He criticizes a lot of this type of people as well, that come up with fairy tales about polar research. And for example, the fairy tale was this idea about, only if you know how to hunt well, you will never starve in Arctic, which is just nonsense. And also it's subjective. It's his own view. He criticizes a lot of people, a lot of circumstances, and objective stuff might be different, but it's up to research. And also his attitude toward animals and people is questionable at best, but it is what it is. It's not easy environment to survive on Arctic, and just because he eats dogs, he doesn't deserve to be. His achievement should not be neglected just because of that, or just because he had attitude he had towards certain ethnicities and people. But it is what it is. I'm not going to share much of his life story with you, because I believe that this is the type of story read for ourselves. If you, for example, dream about exploring space, you should probably read about Amundsen, because Amundsen, if he were to born today, he would probably think about how to become a space researcher and space explorer, because now space is new frontier. During Amundsen's time, the frontier was Arctic and polar research and etc. Now new frontier is space. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's very interesting for adventurers, people. Amundsen has a lot of value for researchers, because there's so many things just happened in his life, which is gives us courage, gives us a different perspective, and the way he was motivated from very early on in his life to just achieve things and to fight for it, and just it is contagious feeling when you read the way he expresses his desire to just dedicate all his time and energy toward this goal. It's very contagious feeling, and it's very unique, truly unique. And this is it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already.